Hey everybody, Steve Prziborowski. Welcome to episode 69 of Reach for the Firefighter Badge. Episode 69 is going to discuss more tips to set you, the newly hired firefighter, up for success. We discussed some previous tips in episode 68, and now we're going to continue. So let's get going. As a reminder, my two websites have lots of great free information to help you be the best that you can be in your pursuit of the badge. Also available on my website, a couple of the books that I prepared for entry-level firefighters, again, to be the best that you can be, also available off my website. So let's get back into it. As I mentioned in previous episode, in the previous episode number 68, we discussed the first 9 tips to set the newly hired firefighter up for success. Let's continue with some more. So you're now fortunate enough to be hired as a firefighter. You've made the big leagues. It's your time to shine. You're on probation. You're in the recruit academy, or you finished the recruit academy. It's time to make sure you're putting your best foot forward. So think about these things. They're just considerations or thoughts, but realize you won't have much sick time or leave time at first, meaning that is not a bad thing, but try not to have hobbies that could injure you. I say that because you'll have some sick leave. So if you do get sick on occasion, usually you get maybe, I don't know, in most departments, 4, 5, 6 shifts, which most people don't use more than a couple days a year, if even that. I mean, everybody's different, obviously, but as long as you keep yourself healthy, hopefully you won't need to use sick leave. My point about hobbies that could injure you, don't be that person. I mean, high-risk hobbies that could injure you, such as riding a motorcycle. Motorcycles are not bad as long as you're safe, but the point, I've never wanted to ride a motorcycle only because I'm not worried about myself as much as others. I remember one of our firefighters years ago when he was on probation got into an accident. I don't know if it was his fault or not, but the point was somebody else hit him, and next thing you know, he's got injuries and he can't work for a number of months. Well, your sick leave goes extremely quick. So what someone like that is in a position of having to do is now ask others for trades. Well, when you're on probation and you're asking somebody else for a shift trade, remember, if they work for you, you have to work for them. And depending on your attitude, if you're one of those individuals like we all know that are, I don't know, selfish, arrogant, or a pain in the butt to deal with, you might not there may not be people that want to trade with you because they're like, why would I want to work for you? I don't want to have you work with my crew. God, they'll hate you. That's why it's so critical, especially when you're a newly hired firefighter, to obviously be on your best behavior, be nice, be a team player, help your brothers and sisters out by working trades, build trades up in the bank. Because especially if you get injured and now for the next month or two, you need like 20 or 30 shift trades, that's a lot of shift trades. And if you're on probation and maybe not even doing well, or you don't have a good reputation, some people may say, hey, I don't want to work for you because you may never work for me. If you're not going to pass probation, and a fire department is not obligated to keep you, especially if you run out of sick leave. Now, most of us will, but my point is, hobbies can wait until after probation. So sick time builds up. Keep your sick time because at some point you may need it for a catastrophic injury or illness. So save it. Don't abuse it. Another thing, try not to plan big trips or events as you may not be able to get trades. Talking about trades, or you may not be able to work trades. So some departments don't allow probationary firefighters to work trades, maybe for the first 6 months or a year, or take trades because they want you to focus on probation. The most important part of the process is passing it. So your focus should be work. So if you have the ability to push things off until after probation, I encourage you to do so. It just is probably a wise thing to do, to not be flaunting, oh yeah, I just got hired as a firefighter, I'm taking a month off to go to Europe. Seriously? How are you doing on your testing? Because again, as a probationary firefighter, you may have monthly tests, weekly tests, quarterly tests, whatever. So you want to show your focus 100% to your employer. Learn as much as you can about your new department. I've touched on this a little bit in the past, but there's lots of ways to find out more about your new department. Take ownership. Learn about the history, the traditions, especially the politics, because there's politics everywhere. If there's a department museum, by all means, learn as much as you can about it. Volunteer at it. If your department has published a yearbook in the past, many departments have. It's a great way to find out department history, put names to faces, because there's usually pictures of individuals in there, past, present. It's a great way if you have that ability. Learn to know the retirees. Learn to meet the retirees. The retirees, in many departments will usually still get together at various times throughout the year. So you may have an opportunity to meet the retirees. Maybe they stop by the station, maybe there's different functions. Those individuals who put time into the department can provide you with a ton of information to set you up for success, because we can't forget history. We need to learn from history and build upon it in a positive way. Also, number 12, learn as much as you can about fire service history. Now, 11 was about your new department history. Now, 12 is about fire service as a whole, not just your department, but nationwide, worldwide. You know, learn about the terms, the traditions. Again, we don't live in the past. We need to live in and focus on the future, but we also can't forget about the past, because if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat history. And some of it's good and some of it's not so good. So learn about things as much as you can. Also, if appropriate in your fire department, because every department's different, cultures are different, expectation, norms are different, try to attend every department function that you can. And when I say every department function, usually I mean off-duty stuff. Maybe there's holiday parties, union meetings are definitely there, recognition ceremonies, retirement ceremonies, whatever it is. I mean, every department's different. Some have a lot of these functions, some don't have a lot of them. But if they're off duty and you're available, I encourage you to attend them. Number one, it shows your pride and ownership in your new department, your new employer. It's a great way to meet people you've never met before. And it actually is good. I mean, it's a good perception. It's something that comes up of when probationary firefighters are not showing up at these things. It's like, hey, why didn't you show up to that? Well, you know, it was my off day. Well, yeah, but this is your new family. Take ownership in your family, show some love for your family, get to meet people. You want to start off on a good foot. So it's a great way to, again, meet people, learn things, and get involved, because we need your assistance in some capacity. Your union is probably always looking for people to help out in various forms and fashions. Also, when appropriate, get involved. Speaking of union involvement, pretty much every labor organization or firefighters association, whatever they call it in your department, is looking for involvement, whether it's serving as an executive board member. Well, as a probationary firefighter, you're not going to serve as an executive board member and you're probationary. In most departments, you're usually a union paying dues member, but you may not have union protections as a probationary firefighter based on the laws in your state. But anyway, it still doesn't mean you can't go to union meetings or shouldn't go to union meetings or get involved with union activities, union committees, trading shifts with others, as I mentioned, maybe working holidays for others. You know, it's not uncommon for us sometimes to hire folks right a month before Christmas or major holidays at the end of the year. And it's great when I see probationary firefighters raise their hand or send an email out and say, hey, if anybody on the job wants me to cover Christmas for them, or Thanksgiving or Kwanzaa or whatever holiday is that, because everyone is different. Some don't celebrate holidays, some do celebrate holidays. Some celebrate different holidays. Maybe it's all across the board. But if you raise your hand and say, hey, I'm willing to work if anybody wants time off because I'm not going anywhere and I'm going to try to help out my brothers and sisters, that's a great way to build your reputation in a positive way. And again, what you give is what you get. Maybe they'll hopefully help you out at some point. But again, try to maybe step up and help out others out, because that goes a long way and it helps you out tremendously, get a great reputation. Also, another piece of advice, always have a spare set of street clothes in your ride, as well as numerous fire department pieces of clothing. Meaning, when I got hired, for example, I just went straight to, okay, I bought 10 t-shirts, because, you know, you have to usually buy your fire department apparel. So I bought 10 t-shirts. You're like, 10 t-shirts? There's days when you're going to be busting your butt training and you may or may not have a washer and dryer at your firehouse. Not everyone does. So you may need to change shirts multiple times, or let's say you get a structure fire right out of the gate at 9 o'clock in the morning. So you just wasted that t-shirt because you got to wash it now. So you got to have a second one. And then maybe you don't have a washer and dryer at the firehouse. So then at 4 in the afternoon, it's rare to have 2 fires in a day. I get it. But then maybe you get another one soiled, or maybe, well, I'm only working 24 hours a day. I'm off for 4 days. Yeah, but maybe your brother or sister calls in sick or something bad happens. And then you're forced over, meaning your chief says, so-and-so, your relief is called in sick. You ain't leaving tomorrow unless you can find somebody else. So now you may be on duty multiple days. That's why it's nice to have a number of different items, not just one shirt, one sweatshirt, one sweatpants. Get multiple sets. You know, like I said, I bought 10 because maybe that was overkill. Maybe it should have been 5, but there was no stress about laundry, you know. I bought 3 sweatshirts, 3 sweat shorts, 3 sweatpants, a couple ball caps, because you're always going to lose one at one point. It's nice to have an extra set. You know, maybe a set that you can keep in your locker if you have a locker, maybe something you can keep at home, something you can keep in your car. It's nice. Have those available versus just, oh, I only have 1 t-shirt. You should have prepared ahead a little better. So just some suggestions. So in the next episode, number 70, we're going to discuss some more tips to help you be the best newly hired firefighter that you can be. So as always, thank you very much for the gift of your time. Hopefully these have been valuable lessons. Even if you gain at least 1 valuable tip, I've done my job. So feel free to reach out to me if I can ever be of assistance to you. And until our next episode, y'all take care, be safe, and we'll see you soon.